WrestleBuddy Podcast. All about wrestling. Subscribe and follow for more content.
Hello and welcome everybody to the WrestleBuddy Podcast. I am your host at TrueCritch on Twitter, and I'm here with Maddie.
What's up, everybody? It's Matty Boy here. You can find me at WrestleBuddy.com, writing articles. You can find me here on YouTube, same channel at WrestleBuddy. And you can find me on Twitter at Matthew_Laws_. And we are here with Andy.
Everyone, Andy Donnelly here. You can find me on Twitter, Brit Wrestling PC. Obviously writing articles for WrestleBuddies.com. And my own podcast, Brit Wrestling Fan Podcast. You can find me on there. Gone Wrestling Buddies, top 5, top 10 stuff that I like to write. So check them out.
So is
Griff.
And I'm Griffin from WrestleBuddy.com. You can find me on GriffinK1, and I'll hand you back.
So we're here. We're like the pre-show to Money in the Bank and this huge week we're having. The culmination of this huge week that we've been waiting for so long. The return of fans in WWE and in most wrestling companies. It's official. As of Thursday, we saw our last fake crowd noises, and we're hearing real noises as of now. So let's get to it. This week, let's not get too deep into Raw since we're going from the start of the show. It's the last Thunderdome show. Not a lot of great things happened. Well, like it was just to hype us up for Money in the Bank when we're already hyped. Just say crowds are going to be there. We'll be excited. And a few notes I want to discuss Drew McIntyre's endless amount of stories. How do you guys feel about that? Because I'm a little worried that that's not going to go well with the crowd. I think the crowd's going to be happy to see Drew, but once he starts saying that stories, it's going to backfire on him. So, Maddie, you're shaking your head. What do you think?
I could do without the history lessons. I can guarantee the crowd will do without history lessons. We're not there to learn about ancient times. We're here to enjoy wrestling. And he's a hell of an in-ring performer. He's a hell of a promo. Just stick to what he's immaculate at, and the crowd will get back into him. If he keeps this up, crowds are just going to sour.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I felt like the after he lost the belt to Lashley, maybe bring him back for a rematch but protect him. And then, if I was WWE, I would have pulled him away for a bit. I feel like during the, he's been a mainstay during the Thunderdome era. But I just feel like after he dropped the belt, if they would have pulled him away and given him a bit of a break and not risk the overexposure, then we'd be having a different chat now with the crowd returning and people wondering when Drew was going to pop back up
What turned Drew face in the first place was that everybody loved him because he was sort of a badass, no-nonsense sort of... it wasn't really a hero, but that's what turned him face. Everybody sort of liked the attitude that he had, sort of almost, could say, sort of Stone Cold-esque. He doesn't really care about anybody else on a wrecking path. And now they're making him sort of into their own sort of mold of a baby face, where he needs to tell this story, sell this, and this. And if he's too much of a shill, if he's, too much of what fans may see, that we want in a face character, then they'll turn on him, I think. And with fans back, it's going to be hard to more.
Yeah, let's look back. Like, Drew became Royal Rumble winner, and he was like not even like weeks into becoming a babyface. I think he was just trying to start out that 1, 2, 3 chant, Claymore, but people still went crazy for him. Like, he wasn't even close to being a babyface, and then him just winning the Rumble just solidified him. So like, they don't need him to be like, hey, let me tell you about Icarus, and let me tell you about the Kraken or something, like these mythological stories. Like, let Drew be a badass. And
yeah, almost feels like they're trying to do William Wallace with him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Braveheart.
Yeah, pretty much they're trying to do that. And
Freedom!
so next I got an interesting feud setting in with Damien and Sheamus, Damien Priest. I love this. Damien's been MIA since after that zombie chaos match, and I think, and Sheamus unfortunately got a nose injury and couldn't get into another feud, and like it kind of seems like they're dropping the Humberto feud, but or maybe Damien's helping him out a little. What do you guys think about this? I'm excited. Sheamus is a puts on hard hitting matches.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think the fact that, I think the one thing over the Thunderdome era for everybody was overexposure. I feel like when there's no crowds there and the shows were, we had some longer matches, which was good, but like for Damien especially, there was too many. That feuds with them, it just felt like it never ended. And at that point, it made me stop caring about Damien to a point. So I feel like this little break's done him good, and hopefully he does go into a full program with Sheamus. And I'm interested in that now because of the break that we haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, the best matches on Raw over the Thunderdome era, mostly Hoss matches. So Sheamus, Drew, Bobby, and I thought this could be another big, huge Hoss match between Sheamus and Priest. But Priest's also aesthetic as well, and gives a nice sort of aesthetic to the feud. As also it drags Sheamus away from the Humberto feud, which sort of seems like it's given a decisive end this week. So it's no exciting ground for Sheamus, and this is a match that I think not many people won't want to see.
I see it being very similar to the Sheamus and Riddle feud that we saw going into WrestleMania. Like Griffin said, Damian Priest is extremely athletic. He's able to do a bunch of stuff that a lot of big guys aren't. So being able to mesh that with how well Sheamus takes to athletic guys, I think this could be a very interesting feud.
A lot of, like, just hype for, I think Ricochet and Morrison had a great Falls Count Anywhere. Ricochet doing what Ricochet does best, freaking flying all over the place. And I just hope Ricochet, please stop wearing those jeans. The crowds are back. Let's look like a star now. Come on. I just hate that.
Yeah. If you're gonna wear them jeans, at least have something behind it, like, instead of just wearing them for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Pull the Bull Buchanan and Big Boss Man, just get the vest.
Yeah. It's just very weird. But then Raw ended with Bobby Lashley being more serious, probably ending the whole girls around him, and said enough with this shit, and it's enough with the Thunderdome shit. So that was the last Thunderdome match. What are some of your guys' favorite moments from the Thunderdome, or who you guys think stuck out from the Thunderdome? Griffin, you first.
I think Bobby Lashley's almost kind of unquestionably the start on Raw for Thunderdome era. He went from, I think, the starting Thunderdome era with that storyline still with Lana, and nobody really cared for Lashley at that point. Even though WrestleMania match was Aleister Black, that's probably one of the less famous matches on that show. And now he's WWE champion, this dominant force on Raw, despite his loss to Xavier Woods on Raw. But he's still maintained a big legitimate presence, and the Hurt Business has really helped him with that. And until they broke up Shelton and Cedric, they were the highlight of Raw for many, many weeks. On top of that, you've got the likes of Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, who in more recent weeks have shown that, and the New Day have shown that they are some of the best workers on Raw. So I'd have to say somebody like them.
Maddie, were you?
I would be hard to agree with, or hard not to agree with Griffin there with Bobby Lashley. Hurt Business as a whole was fantastic, but I think I'm gonna go with Bianca. Bianca just held SmackDown together, and Roman Reigns too. When Roman came back at SummerSlam and started doing the whole Tribal Chief gimmick with Paul Heyman, I think that helped jump SmackDown back to where it should be, not falling far behind Raw, which was already falling behind as we see.
It shows the lack of talent, and I hate to interrupt, but I also got somebody like Asuka, who I think in the early lockdown era really on Raw was one of the top stars. Also Bailey, of course, who's been the best female character of the Thunderdome, I'd say. So those two
Without a doubt.
got mentioned, yeah.
And again, it's so sad that Bailey got hurt right before we got back to crowds. She was someone who deserved that crowd pop as soon as they went back to crowds.
Real MVP of the Thunderdome. Just went on another level with her new character. Andy, how about you? Some of your favorite?
Hey, so, I mean, obviously, the likes of Roman, Bianca, Bobby, perfect ones. For me, Riddle. You know, a lot of people will probably forget, before the Thunderdome era, he was an NXT wrestler. You know, we always see people saying about the fact that, you know, I'm probably one of the worst ones for doing it, of they wreck people after the call-ups. But I feel like Riddle at the moment, sometimes I forget the fact that he's not long coming from NXT. I feel like they've slotted him in really well to the main roster. Obviously, his storyline where he become US champion and then back with Randy, you know, was a great move for WWE. But I just think the whole way he slotted into the main roster is brilliant. And my second one is Dominic Mysterio, because I just feel like he's been able to learn during the Thunderdome era, and the look on his face when he made his entrance on Friday night with the crowd, there was no way he could hide it at all. You know, to be fair, I was sitting there getting goosebumps when he was walking out, because he was over the moon. He was, you could see it in his face. And, you know, obviously he referenced it and said that was his first time in front of a loud crowd, and you could tell, and it was lovely to see it.
Dominic is an extremely good shout.
He's been good thing he's tag team champion right now, because he's going to get a lot of shot. And he's in a feud with the Usos, which those guys, it was announced later
that match is going to slap.
Yeah, and you know, kickoff or not, you know, the Usos don't care where they're at. They'll put on a great match any on the card. And for me, I think I did a list of like the best Thunderdome matches on my own, and I was watching some of them, and I think Roman just brought the Thunderdome to another level. Like his matches with Jay, like I think Jay is another person that gets who deserves love after the Thunderdome. Like he reached heights like nobody could have thought. Jey Uso as a main eventer, nobody. It's just something like we're just not used to seeing, and we saw it, and now we just see him as a whole nother level. He went on to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and then had 2 back-to-back classics with his cousin Roman, and I think those were the best matches of the Thunderdome. And then going from Jay to Roman to Bryan, and then Edge and Bryan, like I think Reigns like carried the Thunderdome after he came back.
Yeah.
And it was just another level that we were dying to see. And we saw on SmackDown, when we'll get into it, like it's working. Like the Thunderdome works. But yeah, we'll get into SmackDown in a bit. Let's go on to NXT. Interesting appearance by Mandy Rose. Heading into, because we just saw on Raw, she was her and Dana were having a little feud with Tamina, and then Mandy just shows up on NXT during the Sarai match. What's your guys' thoughts on that, Andy?
I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. You know, I assume maybe she's going back to NXT. Not too sure, but you know, just to popping up out the blue, that it's piqued a bit of interest to understand what she's doing, and I suppose that was probably the reason to do it, was to try and pique people's interest, to make them want to understand what's going on further down the line. I know she lives in Florida, I believe, as well, so you know, maybe the fact that she's by the Performance Center and they've just called up Tegan Knox and Shotzi, so you know, maybe they're just looking on freshening things up down there a little bit.
There was a report that she got traded for Aaliyah, and that would be a call-up for Aaliyah, who's been a long-time NXT mainstay. She's been there for, I want to say, over 6 or 7 years.
locker room leader of of NXT, man. Yeah, that was another thing I had in my notes. I think Aaliyah is that Alexa Bliss, Carmella person that like never held the title, never did something amazing in NXT, but it could be that sneaker. Liv Morgan too, who's getting a little push right now.
Did you see the love that she got from the crowd as she was leaving? Like whenever she was like doing her farewell kisses goodbye to the crowd, like she was eating it up. The crowd loved her.
And everybody, like, I don't know if you guys watched Breaking Ground back in 2016. She was struggling. Needs women, or I think every main roster needs women. And what you like, I forgot to. We filmed before SmackDown last week. We got Shotzi and Tegan Knox and Toni Storm arriving to SmackDown. So NXT lost a lot of women, but I don't think it's that much because there's still a lot of women that haven't been shown. So I think this is good for all around, like SmackDown getting taste.
Do you think we'll see Simone Johnson soon?
Samoa Joe on the main roster? Or
no, on NXT.
Or wrestle?
Oh, yes.
That's another note I had for my.
Oh, yes.
He's teasing us with Cross, Cole, and Dunn. Like, what are they doing with my heart? Like,
I was watching that. I looked over at my brother and I was like, they're teasing me so much. I need all of this injected into my bloodstream. I want all of these matches and as soon as possible.
They know something. They know that he could wrestle. So
he's got to be cleared, right? He took that cross jacket. He has to, right?
Like I would want it out, or maybe like they know, but they want to like keep him as the bodyguard for a little longer, just so when it happens, it goes nuts. Like people go nuts.
Even keep him as the bodyguard. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Eddie.
Even keep him as the bodyguard and kind of, in the end, have William Regal direct him to sort of cross out.
Yeah, like Cross and Gargano, I think had a pretty good main event. I wasn't really expecting Gargano to be a transitional champion. I think I got into a little discussion with my brother that like maybe it's time for a couple guys to get moved up because if they don't move up, then how do we know? How do we get some of our dream matches? How do we like know how the lengths it can reach? And Edge on the bump recently. Can they move up first so we have these possibilities? I'm excited.
Speaking of Thatcher and Ciampa, we also got teased of them versus Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan, and another one. I want to see that any and all combinations.
Which I was thinking, like Ciampa and Dunne have never really had a feud. To think about, that's another like never before done match.
Do you see Dunne coming up to the main roster anytime soon? With I know they're due back in the UK September, October, I believe. You know, because look at it, they always like to have a little couple of UK.
And we got Tony, Piper, Dewdrop, and Tony Storm. Have all been called up in this year. So maybe I think it's time we get some men in the main roster, like Mustache Mountain, and Pete Dunne, like those. I think it's time.
I think Pete Dunne's been a long time coming, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done everything. But then I think, what if he could be the one that takes it off across too? He's someone who.
I am a huge Pete Dunne fan, so I'd love to see him do anything, everything.
The one thing that I do want to say about Pete Dunne is the body transformation on him over the last year is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Horrifying.
Yeah, I love. Anything else from NXT? A little shake up with the women. I'm excited.
They set up Legado del Fantasma versus Hit Row, and that's gonna be fun.
Yes, but then who's the heels? Who are the faces? That's.
I don't care.
That's a good way to look at it. But
NXT's for the match, isn't it?
man,
Oh, yeah.
Zion Raquel next week.
Xia Li just walked straight up to Raquel Gonzalez, like face to face, and was like, "You are in the way of my destiny."
Another who are the heels, who are the faces in that match? Like pretty interesting. But,
And that's happening next week, so I don't see Raquel dropping the title. But
Yeah, I think they're still
No.
planning on doing Raquel and Dakota at some point. I presume they're going to break up at some point. I presume that's where this is eventually going to lead.
did you see the way that she looked at Dakota after she didn't get the pinfall at first? Like, she was clapping for her and everything as it got to 2, and as soon as she Ember kicked out, just and like grimace on Raquel's face.
yeah,
I feel for Ember that she's just been left behind.
but I hopefully if like everything goes right and Vince doesn't want to take them to the main roster and just end their feuds like he did with Tegan, because it's funny, Tegan like returned, attacked Candice, and was never mentioned again. And then Mandy they never mentioned that Mandy's feuding with Natalia and Tamina. So it's interesting that these weird shakeups are happening and their feuds are dropping right away.
Now, before we move on from NXT, you guys were saying you see Gargano moving up. Do you see him moving up with the way?
Well,
or is it just Gargano?
Austin
or would it just
Theory-
be Gargano and LeRae? Because LeRae deserves to get called up, I think.
Well, Austin was tagging with Harry Smith, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that
Yes, he was.
Are they checking him out to come to the main roster? That's a thing too.
Well,
and I think
I
the way
believe-
is so good right now.
Yeah. And didn't he try Gargano before and it didn't work out on his own?
Yeah, that's a thing too. Like Austin, he was with Angel Garza first, and then he was a disciple of Seth, but then they dropped that. So that's kind of worrying me, like the shuffling. But what more can Gargano do? He's done everything in NXT.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I think you're right with Candice as well. I think it's time to give her a shot. She's been there quite a while now, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And she's busted her ass, too. Like, Candice has been doing phenomenal work.
The Indy and Dexter storyline, I just love it. Every week it gets better and better. Funniest moments, and then another funny moment with Cameron Grimes embracing his butler-ness, and just like,
I love that he's still using the money he has.
Yeah,
as a
to
butler.
pay little kids, and like he's obviously still rich, like, and just like how he looked, like, I look good. And the one thing that scared me is when they were gonna cut his beard or something. I'm like, no, they're gonna.
I thought they were going to shave him clean like Otis,
and cut his hair, and I'm like, oh,
and he's still wrestling. And he's still wearing wrestling tights, even though he's not wrestling.
Yeah, hilarious. So I'm excited to see that unfold every week.
Speaking of weird ring choices, we did have the first match of the Breakthrough Tournament as well.
Oh yeah, and
what did you guys think of Ikeman Jiro? I haven't seen much of him, but
I thought he was going to win.
Jacket. I did too.
That's unique. Like I like that. That's different. And I thought he was going to win because he's had some momentum from 205 Live, and the other dude, remind me his name because I can't remember.
Duke Hudson.
Yeah,
the former Brendan Vink.
Yeah, and he was on Raw during the Performance Center era with Shane Thorne and MVP. Yep. I totally forgot.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yes, he was. Wow. I had to look that up, and they're like, "Isn't that Brandon Vink?" And I was like, "No fucking way! It's not even been 6 months, and he already got repackaged completely."
Like, what was it? I saw a great tweet where it's like, "Oh, he's gonna win the breakout tournament, then beat Lashley for the title, and avenges the main roster." It's hilarious. But yeah, I'm excited to see. There's a lot of guys we didn't really get into the breakout tournament last week, but
There's a lot of talent in this.
Who's the big dude that got a 205, which eliminates the premise of 205 Live? He was over.
I was about to say the
205.
290-pound Josh Briggs.
Was that him? Or
Yeah.
the guy who had like the checkered Mark Henry singlet?
Oh, you're
I think
talking
that was Odyssey
about
Jones.
Odyssey
Yes.
Jones, the 410-pounder.
Showing up on 205 Live. Yeah, I'm excited to see
415
him.
Live.
Yeah. Yeah, just change the name if they're gonna do that. But
Just call
yeah,
it Breakout. There's nothing wrong with
Something-
WWE Breakout. That's a fine name.
NXT Dark. There you go. I got it. Yeah, I'm excited to see these new faces. A lot of guys I never got chances to see if they were in indies or outside WWE. But
Joe Gacy's phenomenal.
I heard people going nuts for him.
That's my pick to go all the way. Sorry.
No, who's the one who took Adam Cole to the limit?
That's Carmelo Hayes,
Yeah,
the former
I'm excited
Christian
to see.
Casanova.
Yeah, excited to
I
see
hope
him.
that his match is against, I think Trey Baxter, or Trey Baxton is his name, the former Blake Christian.
that
Match is going to be insane if they put those two together. Because, like I said, I don't know if you heard or saw anything of his on the indies, but he had a match against Leo Rush for GCW's So Much Fun, and it was phenomenal. They somehow were able to make a Spot Fest have complete and utter control of a story. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was really impressed when he was in the X Cup. Literally like right before he got signed.
I forgot about that.
He got signed and then had a match on Impact, like because it was pre-taped and all that. But yeah, I'm excited to see his work. Let's move on to AEW. Great, another feels normal. It's starting to feel normal. Fans are back. We had some great matches. Matt Hardy and Christian Cage, which at first it was like these guys again, but they kicked ass. I love. I'm an absolutely huge Christian Cage fan. And then we also started with Anderson versus Moxley. We got to see Carl Anderson on his own. But one thing to point out, Anderson is not signed, but has had more matches on AEW than most signed women. So yeah, kind of weird. Weird to point out.
No solo matches until this one, I think, on Dynamite at least.
Huh? On
This is his
Dynamite,
first
yeah.
solo Dynamite match, I think, yeah.
Yeah. But he's had a lot of
And-
6-man.
Eventually, Moxley got the win on Shift, and then it was announced a rematch from New Japan a year and a half ago for the IWGP US title, where John Moxley takes on Lance Archer. Moxley's had the belt ever since for well over 500 days. That should be interesting. AEW, of course, known for their revisiting of old stipulations of classic traditional wrestling style presentation. So, they've done the strap match, dog collar match, that kind of things, true back to the NWA. I feel like the Texas Death match, it's a classic match. Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, synonymous with it. It's yet to see how AEW will present it differently, perhaps, to New Japan, or maybe they'll do the same thing, but maybe to a wider audience this time.
What do you guys think about that? Like Archer and Moxley again? I feel like it's happened. I want to see something different. And then Archer always he has that one little feud that looks like it's going to take him to another level, and then he's back to where he started. I feel like with Cody, with Moxley, Darby,
Yeah.
he's having these little feuds, and it just gets him back down, and maybe. But
the death match will be fun. Again,
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of death matches.
It's gonna be a fun match, but I want to see Archer head into another level.
Like you were saying, it feels like they're going up and down with his push and pull, but not only are they doing that, I can't tell if he's just a straight tweener or if he's a heel.
Yeah.
One thing I love about it was my first thought when I was watching the Mox Anderson match was the fact that doesn't it feel so realistic in AEW the way they bring titles from other promotions kind of like in a boxing match, where I've watched a British fighter who's under a certain promoter in England, and then he goes for a world title and he has to fight on a different promotion in America, and the total different feels of the product and the way they present everything. And I love the fact of this, the way that they bring in other titles and whatnot. It gives it that genuine feel, doesn't it?
Yeah, I love cross promotions. It gives me that WCW vibes when they would bring in like a Muda, Jushin. Hopefully they do like a huge super show. Like it doesn't have to be like exclusive on Fight or something. Huge super show, which we'll look in later, might happen when we get into Slammiversary.
Like Gallows throw it on Lariato Pro.
And then we had a new FTW champion with Ricky Starks. What did you guys think of that? I thought it was a hell of a match. Crazy
it's so
that
good to see Ricky back
with the neck injury, got back that quick and still wrestled like nothing's happened. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
They're supposed to turn Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, I think, is supposed to remain heel, but the huge ovation for Ricky Starks. I feel like that might change something for AEW when they see that Cage was actually getting booed, but he was significantly less cheered, which probably not what they would want then Ricky Starks.
It was his hometown though, too.
Yeah.
Well, it might be different when we get into another city.
This also probably means that Brian Cage being cut out of Team Taz will probably have his own face further on, I presume, so they go with this afterwards.
But did they even like address the fact like, hey, you're out of Team Taz? That's what
I think it's still left quite ominous because
they were all celebrating.
It was just Hobbs I think, who attacked him. So it wasn't Taz's whole idea because it's on commentary at the time. So we'll have to see how it plays out in a few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, they did say like Taz was celebrating, wasn't he? And on the commentary, they were kind of alluding to kind of a dual cross, but there was nothing that was actually said that confirmed that. So you might find next week that there's something changed on that front.
Yeah, I might kick him out next week. And then Yuka came back after on AEW. I'm not too familiar with Yuka, but like I was really impressed. I thought her match was really fun. And then I think, but one thing to point out, the women, something like I think what makes me like what's up with the women? Like they show the dark results on the bottom screen. I'm like, oh, it's Big Swole. Where has she been? Oh, it's Ty Cote. Where has she been? Like they expose us to these women a lot, and then they go missing or into dark. And I don't think I myself have so much to watch that like I can't catch up with dark. And then, but I think it's like look at NXT. They showed us so many women in 2-hour show. Even SmackDown, for the small amount they have, they gave Carmella and Bianca. They gave Liv and Zelina were on commentary. They had the tag match. That's already 8 women shown on one show. And go ahead, Andy.
Do you feel like when they start this new show that we'll get to a lot more women matches?
I hope so. But it's like I don't get like why can't they sneak in a couple more or like a promo? Yeah. Like we got Britt's promo, but and Nyla backstage, but why can't like look at Impact? Like they have a stacked women's roster, and I think every week we hear a promo, we get a backstage segment, we get a match, we get a couple matches, we get reminded of like, oh, look at the roster we have.
That was one of my gripes with Dynamite this week was the promos in between. There was quite a few of them all in a block rather than spread them out over the show.
Yeah, but that's my little complaint. Like where
you probably also mentioned that the elephant in the room, which Yuka Sakazaki's theme song is the best theme song in all of wrestling. Oh, what a cracking theme! Jesus Christ!
And then we got the Elite and Dark Order teasing potential 5 or like they accept the challenge 5-on-5 if Dark Order wins. Hangman gets his long-awaited title shot. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I'm excited, and as long as Colt Cabana is one of those 5, I'm happy. I'm a huge Colt Cabana fan. So.
Yeah, I like Colt Cabana. At the moment, it kind of confusing me. I just don't see where Page fits in with the Dark Order. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I don't know whether it's kind of they've put Page with them because they need a leader, or because with Page going after the belt with Kenny, it makes sense for them to have the backup rather than being the lone cowboy, the Lone Ranger. But I don't know. For me, it's just not. It's confusing me.
It's that AEW mentality of like everybody needs a group or partners.
Yeah.
Another thing to point out, like why Sammy Guevara faced what's his name? You guys can point
Wheeler
out.
Yuta.
Yeah, and he came out with the best friends. Like, did he really need the best friends with him?
Yeah.
Was it an sorry?
No, go.
Oh no! Like, was it an excuse to get him like a pop to have the best friends with him? Like, that was my thing.
No, I just think with the whole Adam Page character, the whole character of the Lone Ranger, the Lone Cowboy, the Drifter, all this kind of thing, he doesn't really care, and I just don't get why just not. Yeah, all right, have everybody else in a faction, but build him as the kind of the man on his own, just drifting through. Pretty much similar to Stone Cold back in the day when you had like the Nation and DX and stuff, and Stone Cold was that much of a badass. He didn't need anybody else. He just needed to be on his own.
Sting and DDP, like they were doing their own things, but still like feuded with NWO on their own.
Yeah.
Like until Sting joined the Wolfpack, but still like Sting, it was a one-man army. Like they could easily do that with the Hangman.
Yeah, and I think, as I say, that the whole cowboy gimmick plays into that fact of him being the lone ranger, the lone wolf, that kind of guy on his own. I just think it plays into it so well, and I don't know. I just think they're thinking to themselves, well, we've got Kenny with the Elite, so I know the Dark Order haven't got no one. Let's pop him in there with them and we can have some tag matches and that. Because one thing that the AEW does do very well is they don't oversaturate the match. So, in WWE, you'll see the same match 6 or 7 times where, AEW, I think, do really well of keeping the interest in the building towards that match, but they don't actually put them together to fight before the main event type.
Yeah, they're really stretching this, which I enjoy. And then we got a main event, which I absolutely love, Darby Allin versus Ethan Page, a guys with so much history. And then I was just watching, I was like, this is how I want Ethan Page on his own. And as soon as I said that, Scorpio Sky pops out as the casket. Like, But I loved it, man. Those guys delivered. Absolutely.
That Ego's Edge onto those stairs. Oh my God.
Don't see the point, as we said before, to jump through the coffin now.
Oh yeah, the coffin drop on the coffin.
I think that might be the conclusion of that feud. I think we might all sort of move on from this. I hope that's good.
Yeah. Could be the metaphor of the final nail in the coffin, as it were. Jumping through it.
But then again, they didn't do the tag match, which was kind of obvious thing, and Darby versus Scorpio and Ethan. So maybe one more little feud, one more match before.
I can see him facing Scorpio and then hopefully ending it there.
Yeah. And then so yeah, that was it for AEW. Next would be Impact, but I think I'm gonna skip over it because Slammiversary kind of overshadowed it. But let's head into SmackDown. How great was it to feel the crowd?
I got goosebumps.
Man, I was smiling from ear to ear when Edge came out, because he's been through so much. He got his big moment at the Rumble, pandemic happens, and then he's kind of back, he gets an injury, and then we get a little taste of it at WrestleMania, but that feels like forever from now. Crazy to see it was just April. But we were dying for an Edge got his moment to soak in the fans, have a full match. What's your guys' thoughts on SmackDown?
Okay, first of all, Vince McMahon's promo at the beginning was awesome. It was brilliant.
So simple.
Where the hell have you been?
First Vince would get the entrance.
Yeah, so little words that plays out so well. Do you know what I mean? There's no way he could have done better than what he actually did there. I thought it was awesome. I thought the show itself was exactly what it needed to be. Kept the crowd going, some good matches on there, but let's face it, he could have put anybody on that card and they would have got the pops they needed to. And I feel like, the fact that they've got through that show now, any kind of surprises or, big things that they're going to do, they didn't need to do it on this show, and they didn't. And I was happy for that. I think Finn Balor coming back was enough. And apart from that, and let's face it, for me, that's not a big, massive thing. I love Finn. I think he's really good, but I don't think that was, I've got a Balor Club t-shirt on. It's not, but for me, it was kind of just a transition back. Bit of a big one, but not, not like a Becky coming back or something, kind of real bit, or a Brock coming back with a big surprise like that. And I feel like they've done what they needed to do. Really good show, got through it, and they've got some gas in the tank for later on with some of the other stuff they want to do.
Yeah, it wasn't too many. Finn was a little taste of the surprise they can get, because we got Money in the Bank. Like, let's not do too many, because what if at Money in the Bank, Finn's probably not going to show up tonight. Like, it was just to set up a little feud with Sammy. What I'm worried about is, like, let's not get hopefully Finn's not back to his smiley self. I want that attitude he had when he came back to NXT, because that was a whole nother level. And just imagine that version of Finn versus Roman. I
think that version of Finn, though, can you still do the demon with it?
That's what I'm worried about, because I don't think he did not need the demon in NXT, because were just like he was kind of like Roman Reigns. Like, he was just so unstoppable that every match you wanted to watch and see what, like,
that's the difference with the smiley Finn on the main roster, and probably his first time at NXT as well, is this is the happy Finn, and then when you push him too far, the demon comes out. And I just don't feel like if they're planning on bringing the demon back, leave the old NXT version of Finn there, because I don't see them two working in tandem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that version of Finn's so unbeatable that, like, he doesn't need the demon
exactly.
in moments.
Something my brother pointed out was the only time Finn really cracked a smile at all was after he hit the shotgun drop kick. He looked at the crowd real quick. He gave a quick smirk, and then he went to beating Sammy's ass. And then he left. He didn't really have the big ear-to-ear grin that we saw him showing throughout.
The one thing I did notice, though, was one Celebration. I don't know whether you've seen it. He'd done the old main roster rather than the Guns.
He never did the Guns on NXT. Oh, no, the main roster. Another thing to point out. Yeah. And another thing we were speaking of before we started recording, Dominic Mysterio just getting his moment, getting the show, bringing out some good stuff. I'm like, yeah, you got to bring that up, because fans are gonna love that. What's your guys' thoughts on that? A guy who literally made his career in front of nobody now gets the chance to shine. What you guys thought, Griff?
Yeah, it's good for him. He's worked through the Thunderdome era, and now he's just getting some real life reception. So that's all we can say, really. It's just good for Dominic.
Yeah, tonight he gets his chance to show against the Usos, and that's on the kickoff. But we know, like, the Usos will deliver in any spot on the card. So I'm excited to see that, and it was a great way to warm the crowd before the actual show. And then I had two moments that had me smiling from ear to ear was Edge coming out and Bianca. I was just so happy seeing her get that's a star. That's what I like. The Thunderdome works. That's a star. Like, what results of someone who's so natural, and then just a great star. What's your guys' thoughts on Bianca? And she had a hell of a match with Carmella. Like, let's give Carmella her due too. She can go with anybody. A lot of people
Carmella's a hell of a wrestler.
they don't give her the credit she deserves, and they're about to have a rematch next week, which I don't mind. It might be, hopefully, to you guys over there on the other side. It's going to be in Rolling Loud, a big festival that's huge in the hip hop community, and I think Bianca would people are going to be attracted to.
That'd be massive.
So hopefully it's live from, and maybe have Sasha come out, set up Sasha's return.
Yeah,
I'm excited. And then the night ended with a fatal 4-way with Shinsuke Owens, Rollins, and Big E. Those guys tore up the house.
Yeah,
and as they should have. And you can tell the excitement in every performer's face.
One of the things I've got here on my notes is, and it's just something that I wrote down straight away, is why is it whenever there is a ladder present, Kevin Owens tries to kill himself?
That's what we said. That's exactly.
He's taking that ladder on its side tonight. I can bet all of you money.
Owens, save your body for tonight. We know you're going to do something crazy.
I've even got written on my notes.
Not in there. Yeah. At least Sammy's not in there. He's not going to eat a Michinoku driver on the side of the fucking ladder.
No, I've got written on my notes here. Does Kevin Owens walk down the street, see a ladder, and automatically just be drawn to throw himself from it?
And then also pointing out, Harry Smith did a dark segment on SmackDown before going off the air. And then it was no secret because they interviewed him on WWE YouTube's, and it's on there. Like, how awesome is it to see Harry Smith back in WWE? I think he improved. So he's such a different performer than he was 10 years ago. And I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, I'd really love to see him do the full Davey Boy Jr. gimmick. Because I know the British Bulldog. And
I was reading on Twitter, they're setting up a Alpha Academy and Cesaro little feud, and maybe have the help of Harry Smith with him. Moving Cesaro to
think about that.
Yeah, moving Cesaro to another tag team is another tag team, but him and Harry do have a little history with both teaming up with Tyson Kidd. Yeah. And I think they would be an amazing tag team together. So
it'll be a way of popping Tyson Kidd on telly for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, just a overall great SmackDown. Just left the show with just happiness. I'm excited for Money in the Bank tonight. See what they have first. And then we go on to our next big show, Slammiversary. So much buzz. A lot of people's 90 days have been up, and maybe a little controversial to say. We got a little Impact love here at WrestleBuddy, but it's underwhelming. Little surprises, but let's run down the card. First, the pre-show, we got new Knockout Women's Tag Champions with the Decay. I was kind of hoping Fire Flavor would retain the titles. They've been killing it. They've already held it twice. And then if this little iconic tag team is 90 days are up, I would have loved to see Fire Flavor and Inspiration, Iconics, whatever you want to call them, battle it out on the mic. It would have been hilarious to see.
Rosemary and Havoc will be good champions, though.
Yeah, it's cool to see that, Rosemary and get their due, since they've been kind of here and there.
And Rosemary's busted her ass throughout the pandemic as well. That's another person that was Impact star throughout the pandemic.
Her and Taya. I love Taya. Oh, also, I wish they brought this back. Wrestle House. That was one of my favorite things in Impact, the little reality show they had last year. I loved watching it, and they didn't bring it back before they brought back crowds. So I wish they would have done another season. And then a hell of a opener. One of the most unique Ultimate X matches. Josh Alexander retaining his title against Chris Bay, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, and Petey Williams. And Rahit Raju, which they don't have him listed under. It's weird. Rahi Raju's name's not on the match on Impact's website. That's weird.
On Impact's website?
Yeah, I'm reading Impact's like just so I get a reminder. It's like
Poor
it's all their. Yeah, they didn't put his name. Rahi, who was a main MVP of the match, he brought out there's a hilarious spot. He was in the corner of the ring. He jumps, he can't reach the ropes because he's so short, or he doesn't have enough. So he gets like a hook and he gets a rope first and makes like a little rope to climb up. Fails. He gets a hook. He tries to unhook the X Division title. So many innovative stuff. We saw Alexander do like an upside down ankle lock as Chris Bay had Ace Austin in a chokehold, and then Ace Austin had P.D. Williams in a chokehold, and then P.D. Williams had sharpshooter on them. So it was like a very weird tower of people, but great opener to start Impact. Makes it really exciting. And then we got the return of the hot mess Chelsea Green teaming up with her fiance Matt Cardona against Tennille Dashwood and Brian Myers. I thought it was a really fun, quick little match. Cool to see Chelsea. What's you guys' thoughts on that? Maddie?
It's good to see Chelsea Green back in Impact. It was fun seeing her in there with her husband or her fiance. I just remember her popping up on Best in the World like a week ago, saying, "Once this is healed up, I'll be back in the ring." Well, she was wrestling with the cast on, so I guess it's somewhat healed up.
Also, the fact that was it Dashwood used to be with Car's owner as well, didn't she? Once upon a time.
Yeah.
I think they could have made that a bit more obvious. Yeah,
Myers tweeted like, "Oh, Cardona faces 2 of his exes at Slammiversary," which I thought was hilarious. Yeah, great opener. And then they pointed out later at the next Impact Specials Homecoming, and they're doing a Homecoming King and Queen like little mixed match challenge-esque tournament with mixed tag matches. Maybe this is setting up Cardona and Chelsea to win the whole thing. Maybe Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards. And speaking of Eddie Edwards, he faced W. Morrissey, who's been on a roll, like another level, shredded. Like they're building him to be a monster in Impact, and I like it. It's something different. What's your guys' thoughts on Morrissey's transformation from big cast to W. Morrissey?
I'm very happy for him, and take away just the way that he's being boxed in the ring. I'm happy at the fact that he's managed to get his, his personal problems sorted out. At the end of the day, you should never judge someone on what they've been through. It's about how they come out of it at the other end, and obviously he's coming out of it really well. Looks like he's got himself really sorted out and back on a level again. So, it's good, great stuff.
And then Madman, Fulton, and Shira came out to address that they're not on the show, and it kind of felt like, oh, maybe someone's coming out, former WWE, but it was just Finn Juice. That was kind of no, I love Finn Juice. I love Finn Juice, but that was kind of, and then Moose versus Saban happened. I think that was like a match of the night. It's like they really killed it. Moose Chris Sabin, won that unexpectedly, setting up Saban. Hopefully sets up Saban versus Omega. That's a match we haven't seen. And then a fatal 4-way for the Impact champions. TJP was unexpectedly taken out from the match, but we got No Way. That's it. No Way in Impact.
No way. It's no way.
Oh, and we had another little vignette for the Drama King coming in, which is Aiden English, now known as, I think, Drama King Matt. These are the 2 surprises in the males. What's you guys' thoughts on that? 2 guys who were released last year, not this previous year. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Interesting, I'd say. You know, first of all, my thought was the fact of the 90-day stuff. The fact that they come after that is, you know, it's a bit of a surprise because I thought if they were going to come, they would have come before then. But no, see what they do with them.
Yeah, it was unique picks for Slammiversary, not like the most oh my god shocking, but as you saw, like who'd they get last year? They got Eric Young, Heath Slater, Cardona, Myers. That's about EC3 was there for a bit. Oh, the Good Brothers, and they kind of like turned into another. They reached like another level. They're nothing like their former WWE self. So maybe like No Way and Matt, Drama King Matt will be different. Like, No Way brought back his conga line, so no.
I think Aiden's very, very good on the mic, and I think like he can kind of take himself to a new level because he looks like a creative guy. No Way, I'm not too sure about because I didn't think he was great in WWE anyway. And the fact that they kind of haven't gone for something totally different, they're still kind of trying to bring back this kind of gimmick. I don't know.
And then unfortunately, Rich Swann did not win the tag titles. That would have been great for our YouTube page. We could have promoted that, which we should still. We got a good interview. Maddie took over, which Rich Swann. And we could have been like, check out the new tag team champion, but still check out him from Slammiversary, killing it.
It's still worth a watch. It was a really good interview.
Yeah, awesome interview. One of our biggest names so far. And then we got Deanna's surprise opponent, Thunder Rosa, which I loved. I think it was kind of a way to throw us off. I think Nikki and Chelsea were like the two obvious choices. I don't think they were going to give us Billy Ray or Payne Royce separated if they were going to bring them in. But yeah, another woman that was like, Thunder Rosa just had an amazing match with Britt Baker, but then is missing on AEW. Kind of weird. But yeah, they had a great match. And then Peraza come out. Mickie James surprisingly comes out and wanting her to go to NWA, but like why? Like they could, and potentially setting up a match for them. I'm really excited for this. Mickey's didn't get her full potential in her return to WWE, so I'm excited to see her reach bigger heights since she can still go after all these years. And then it was announced that Vegas will be hosting Bound for Glory October 23rd, and it has AEW, and they promoted AEW New Japan and AAA Mexico. So I'm excited. That's like the big, we were talking earlier, the big super show. Maybe that Bound for Glory will be the big super show with all these other non-WWE promotions that work together. So I'm interested to see who shows up, because since Omega has been Impact champion, not much. I think only Private Party showed up on Impact. So hopefully we get more AEW guys giving a little love to Impact, because it hasn't felt like a real war for that we were thinking it was going to be. And then finally, in a violent match, thumbtacks, barbed wire, pizza cutter, everything, the kitchen sink. Great match between Callahan, but with Omega wins the match. Kind of still unsure, like what Impact superstar are they gonna have him take that away from him. It's kind of confusing to me. And then Jay White comes out, unexpected, a New Japan superstar showing up. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Are we getting a Bullet Club versus the Elite? What do you guys think?
I'd like to see Omega versus Switchblade again. That match would be really fun. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard that the feed got cut early.
Yes. So I was watching live. I was covering it on WrestleBuddy, and then you see somebody like walking down the ramp, and then the Impact logo just shows. And I was really expecting like GOD, the Guerrillas of Destiny, to show up, and like help out Switchblade, and then we get a little Bullet Club versus Bullet Club, but it's FinJuice attacking Jay White. So, and they never like did the too sweet, I suppose, and it was kind of interesting way to end the night. Lackluster. I think it's great to see fans back in the Impact Zone, but and nothing huge besides Jay White, who's an outside, a New Japan guy coming into Impact. So it's like we're getting Omega and Jay White, two guys who aren't part of the Impact roster, feuding. Yeah, it's kind of making the main event scene just for the Bullet Club. I don't know how I feel about that. You guys final thoughts on Slammiversary overall, Griffin?
Yeah, I thought it was an okay show. I mean, it's not Impact's best show. I wouldn't even say this year, but I would say overall, I think there was a few good moments in there. A few good surprises. Nice ones I didn't see coming. Obviously, one as big as last year's, but I think overall, pretty good show.
Maddie,
We had Mickey James come back too.
Yeah, great surprise.
It's good to hear hardcore country again.
Yeah. Andy, opinions on Slammiversary?
Nothing real stands out apart from the Omega match by the looks of it. But again, with the people who brought in, I thought it was a small surprise, but not kind of something to make you stand up and take notice. So yeah, apart from that, nothing really stands out. No big news from it. I suppose the best thing to say.
All right, well, off to our the main course tonight. Fans are back again, and the biggest show we've been waiting for since WrestleMania, Money in the Bank. Let's run through the card and see. Let's predict who's going to win these matches. First, in the kickoff show, Ray versus Dominic Mysterio. We were talking about it a little. They're going to kill it. Like, they're going to go out. Who do you guys got, Maddie?
I got Mysterios. I think Usos might win it later, but I think we're going to have a real feel-good crowd pop to kick off the show. Like the crowd that is packed into the stadium or the arena, I think they're going to give them a feel-good moment.
Yeah, I think Mysterious as well.
Andy?
I'm going to go Usos. I think that they'll win it because we all think that they're not going to. That makes sense. So just typical WWE.
I think, Mysterios, but then have like a little kabuki ending. That way, I think this match deserves to be on SummerSlam. So maybe have a rematch. Like back then, we got the New Day and the Usos having rematch after rematch, and they still brought it up. So maybe that could happen. Just one rematch, not too many. And Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders. This was supposed to be on Raw after, I think, because of Bayley's injury, it got moved to Money in the Bank. Who do you guys got on this, Griffin?
Omos and Styles.
Maddie?
I feel the exact same way about that. I don't see much coming from this match. So, AJ Omos.
Andy?
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really see much. I don't see them wasting the loss of AJ and Omos on the Viking Raiders.
Yeah, I see them winning it because I think SummerSlam, it's going to be the RK Bro versus Randy. RK Bro versus versus lost my train of thought. Well, and then we got Rhea and Charlotte. We all know, like, possibly. I think we all say Rhea, hopefully. Guys.
Charlotte, unfortunately.
You guys think? And
Point says Rhea.
I'll say Charlotte.
My prediction is Becky Lynch will come out. That's it. Whoever wins will stare down Becky Lynch.
Yeah. I hope that Becky comes out and costs Charlotte the match. Because I feel like they could have a little bit of a go with each other, and the title's not important in that sense. And then give Becky a chance to chase for the title afterwards.
And then I'll run this real quick. Roman versus Edge. Who do you guys got?
Roman.
Roman.
I think Roman with the little appearance by Seth to cost and set up Edge, because we're getting that tease. We got that tease on SmackDown, so it's gonna happen. And then Kofi versus Bobby. Who do you guys got?
Lashley.
I was about to say, I got Big Bobby.
The Almighty.
Yeah.
Especially with him being focused the way he is. Yeah.
The only thing I want to happen, can Big E introduce the New Day theme song live in the crowd right there?
Please.
I want that. And hopefully Big E wrestles after this match. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, he probably will do with the fact that the cash-ins could happen at this match, so sure they'll have the money in the bank beforehand, won't they?
And then let's do the women's Money in the Bank. We got the women's Money in the Bank: Zelina Vega, Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Ash, Liv Morgan, and the tag team champions Natalya and Tamina. Who do you guys got? This one.
Liv Morgan.
Oh, sorry. Go, Andy.
My heart says Liv. My head says Alexa. Because I feel like her sneaky character with the mind games, put the briefcase there and it goes to another level, doesn't it?
Griffin.
Yeah, Liv Morgan, I think.
Naomi.
Oh, different. Yeah,
I'm not winning that one.
I think top 3. I think Alexa or Liv, and maybe Nikki, because we got Otis last year, a little comedy act, but like, hey, let's see how the crowd reacts to Nikki. Like, I think Nikki's so lovable. Like, everybody loves her. Whatever she does, she kills in. That could be a feel-good moment.
I think the one good thing with this whole match is you're not looking at a standout winner, which is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe Selena. Who knows? Like, I think obvious Tamina Natty, but we were kind of discussing before recording that you guys think someone will be taken out of this match.
I can see Liv getting taken out, like backstage by someone, and maybe Sonya Deville takes her spot, or
that too. I was thinking that a long time ago. Like, maybe imagine Sonya cashing in on Bianca, like that.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
I think maybe Natalia or Tamia. I don't see them two being in the match, and to be honest, I don't understand the two of them being in the match with them being tag title holders. I don't really understand their participation. So I don't know why. I've got a feeling they've been put there for that reason.
And it's not like we lost a lot of women in the last releases, but it's not we kind of gained some recently, so it's not like we have that much.
And if you wanted to, you could have pushed the likes of Tony Storm or somebody quicker into the main roster to put them in this match. But
Mia Yim, who's been MIA since Retribution's disbanding, so
yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling that they made a big deal of leaving that final spot blank and then filled it with Tamina too quick for my liking.
Yeah,
just I think there's a reason behind it.
They really hyped up everyone's announcement, like with the Liv story that she got pushed aside for everybody. Like, and then all of a sudden Twitter gets the final announcements. That was kind of
That's why I think there's something behind it.
All right, so we got hopefully this ends the night. We got the men's Money in the Bank ladder match with Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Riddle, Ricochet, John Morrison, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Seth Rollins. Great talent right here. This match is going to be something else. But who do you guys got?
Big E. I think it's got this.
Riddle.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to go with Riddle as well, / Orton.
I'm going to go with Big E, but I feel like Drew, they might give it to Drew. But what I'm so curious is how are fans going to react when Drew is climbing the ladder and they feel like he's going to win? That's what I'm worried about.
They've got audibles before.
That's how I feel that's how we know his storytelling is going to be working. Like, but for sure, I want Big E. My heart says Big E. I want to see Big E cashing on either Roman or Bobby if it goes either way. Like,
I wouldn't be mad if Ricochet won it either, just to kind of try and propel him to that next level.
Yeah, you got a lot of different guys in this match. I think the obvious two that I would be like really be Drew and Seth.
Yeah, and I think they're the two that don't need it.
Yeah, Owens is a former Universal Champion, but that feels like forever ago, and like that would help them a lot.
I think I'm going to switch my pick to Kevin. Honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking about it. Have Kevin win it, have him take his time off, and have him come back as a heel with the briefcase.
That's interesting. Even Morrison, a lot of great.
Yeah, well, that could launch him to I mean, Bobby Lashley has taught us anything. As Bobby Lashley was nothing, not doing great, and look at him now, he's dominating, and maybe then it was just off that restart, putting him with MVP. So with Morrison giving him that briefcase could be the restart he needs.
Yeah, I really like. Even I think the Johnny Drip Trip stuff, I think the fans are gonna love, and the drip stick, all that. I've been laughing my ass off every time he does that. But yeah, there you go. We got Money in the Bank coming up tonight. I'm really excited. Fans are back, and what better way than a freaking Money in the Bank?
I think we're going to get a lot of surprises along the way. I think they've probably saved quite a few for tonight. Whether it's the ones that we all think it'll be or not, I don't know, because I feel like tonight we'll get a bit of it, and then SummerSlam is when we'll get hit with a big lot of it.
All right. And before we say goodbye, last Monday we lost a legend in the wrestling industry, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. Rest in peace. Let's go. And any amazing, I know some of us, it might be ahead of our time, but there's the network, there's DVDs, there's YouTube. We can all, documentaries, we all knew who he was. We understood the legacy he left. Any Paul Orndorff memories for you guys, Maddie?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 1, to be honest. I hate to be cliche, but like that's the first in real time I've sat and watched Paul Orndorff, and yeah, it's hard to argue his historical significance, everything he's done for the business, and yeah, this is a hard loss for the pro wrestling world.
Andy, any great?
Yeah, I think for me it's his singles run against Hogan when he stole Hogan's music. It was quite funny, and I thought also when he split up. When they turned him face and he split up with the Brain the first time round, and the Brain put a bounty on his head. I thought that was a way ahead of its time.
Yeah, I'd say WrestleMania 1 obviously main evented the first ever WWF pay-per-view, and they main evented Survivor Series in '87 on Hulk Hogan's team. Nearly became the inaugural Smoky Mountain Wrestling World Champion, and of course, owner of the best pile driver in wrestling.
100%.
So I'll say some of my favorite stuff. I'm a big early '90s WCW fan. His WCW television title runs and his little stuff he did there with the mirror and all that. I think it was hilarious. It was like a little second wind he had. Like he was completely different from what he did in WWF. And it showed that he can still go. And that's kind of some of my favorite moments. Rest in peace, Paul Orndorff. He would be gratefully missed. And so, as we leave, that's been all. Hopefully, Money in the Bank delivers. We are excited. And check out WrestleBuddy.com. Twitter, Wrestle_Buddy, YouTube, WrestleBuddy. We got great stuff right there. We got a special edition with the on there, quiz buddies with the TWM news people. A great episode. Check it out. It's so fun.
And episode 3 of our main quiz buddies goes live today as well.
Yes, check that out. Hopefully this will go live before the Money in the Bank. That way you guys are all caught up. And we got an interview with Rich Swann up there. Biggest interview we've done. Check it out, please. And
He's such a great person to talk to. It was amazing to be able to sit with him and talk with him.
And we got some more stuff coming up for you guys. We got great articles. I did a hot take on why this show, Money in the Bank 2016, is a better show than 2011. Controversial, but read it first before you guys have an opinion, because I got a little flack on the internet from some people for saying that. But yeah.
And check out my eras, new, obviously with Money in the Bank, it does feel like a new era. Check out my top 5 eras as well, which went on the website today. And I had so much fun writing it. It was really, really fun to do.
All right. Well, follow me on Twitter @TrueCritch. Right there, you see all our WrestleBuddy articles everywhere we're at. And Maddie?
You guys can find me at WrestleBuddy as well. You guys can find me here for the podcast for Quiz Buddies. And you can find me on Twitter at Matthew_Laws_.
Andy?
Same as Matthew, you can find me on WrestleBuddies.com. Find my articles on there. I really enjoy writing them. So I've got a lot of good feedback, so please check them out. Find me on Twitter, Brit Wrestling PC. And you can find me on my podcast, Brit Wrestling Fan Podcast. And also, hopefully, on further editions of the WrestleBuddy podcast.
And you find me on Twitter @GriffinK1.
All right. See you guys next week.
Bye.